Coach Milu, and good morning,
Tony.
Coach Rosen. How are you today?
Good morning, Anthony DiGuida.
Welcome to Coffee with the Coach, our February 16th edition. And just coming off of Valentine's Day, we are going to talk about love again today. I hope you were both successful in showing your loved ones that you have the love for them. I have no doubt that that Maureen and Sandy had a good Valentine's Day with you.
Yes, and if you want me to go first, good morning, Tony, and good morning, Dennis. Very nice to see you. And of course, it's delayed, but Valentine's Days in this year actually happened a day early. Means we got heavy snow on the Valentine's Day, so we made it our way the day before.
Well, not only is Valentine's Day early, but so is Fat Tuesday, which is today.
Well, see, I'm just listening to you guys talk about Valentine's Day. In my life, every day is Valentine's Day.
Oh, very well said. Very well said, Tony. I think that's what we wanted to talk about today is love and spread the love. And every day is a Valentine's Day. What does that mean?
Yes, Dennis. Coach,
doesn't mean that I love my wife any more or any less on a day designated to express it to her, because I express it to her all the time.
There you go. That's the perfect example of what we are.
Well, that's what you told me to read.
So do you express the Hallmark holiday with a card?
No, I like to give my wife little presents and gifts throughout the year for no reason at all. I have learned a long time ago that just little things, they don't have to be big things. But on Valentine's Day, I order a special orchid for her. And I've been doing that for years.
From a special orchid. Nice.
Yeah, it's the people that make these orchids are unbelievable. I call them 2 weeks in advance, and they save the orchids as they come in, and they take real good care of it. And it's just, but it's not like we need a day to do it.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And I think in these COVID times too, we've got extra stress upon us in our relationships just because we have these things going on that we don't know how long the pandemic's going to be. We have loved ones we're caring for. We're a little fearful, but you're with each other much more than you've ever been. But it's not necessarily quality time. It's quantity time. So what you're saying, Coach, is to make an effort to show the love with some quality time together.
Doing little things like I like to cook, and she usually does the dishes. So I'll do the dishes sometimes, or I'll do the laundry, or we'll share in things. I think what's happened is that the quality time has come into more sharing of responsibilities in the house. And that's pretty cool for everyone, because she's doing things that maybe she normally wouldn't do, and I'm doing things we normally wouldn't do. But in order for our home to be what it is, we share in doing it. And it's sort of cool.
Well, and I agree with you. But I don't know if when it becomes an everyday thing, when you're cooking every day, that they realize that your partner realizes that that's love that you're giving.
Well, who said every day?
Well, I do the same thing. I like to cook a lot, and I probably make it a little bit more complicated because I try to do really different things instead of just a quick meal. I'll make I may make an extravagant meal in the middle of the week just to mix it up.
Yeah, but there's other, you're right. So, but there's other little examples, like if you come across something on Amazon or some other place, and you surprise her with it, just
yes.
Like we got a puppy, I've been ill, and I want to make sure that my wife never comes home to an empty house. So we got a puppy. So
What kind of puppy did you get?
the puppy is a cockapoo. It's just a wee
Okay.
little thing. And but the sharing of that, I mean, the puppy gets up every day at 5 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, one of us goes down and gets and feeds it, and then the other one comes down. It's just it's been like a new lifestyle. And being older people, I am 80, my wife will be 80 in June. It's sort of cool. And so the other
When's
thing
the-
is to try and keep yourself mentally busy and mentally challenged. And to that extent, that's why I wrote the book, because I didn't want to waste the time. I think wasting time is a terrible loss of one's creativity. I've tried to teach you that there's no such things as walls. There are challenges and how to get past them, over, under, through, around, whatever it takes. But you don't want to lock yourself in, and that's one thing I'm very proud of you about. And that's just something that keeps on giving. Because if the things aren't going so good, look to see how you can make them better and not stop and have grit. And that was why you were good, Tony.
Well,
Not because you had the greatest talent, but no one had more grit. And then the talent came.
That's a direct quote from your book, and I'm reading your book, Dennis, and thank you very much for sending this book to me. And this is a fantastic gift. And, you know, I looked at the back cover of the book and I read what you wrote there is saying to play the game is great, to win the game is greater, but to love the game is the greatest of all.
And that applies to life too.
Exactly. And what I'm seeing here is also is what you are mentioning in personal life, and Tony, you hearing that as well, is loving the game. Life is a game, and it's loving the game is the essence of everything that we do. And if you love, and as you know, Vino and Vision theme of the month is love, and Dennis just mentioned and reminded us, you don't have to love in a specific day or even a specific month. You have to have love every day. That's a fantastic way of, and I'm reading this book. This is a fascinating book, by the way, Dennis, and I read some of I would admit that I haven't finished the book, but I not only read, but I also marking some of the pages. As you can see, I have some highlights and using pencil, and I'm also using some of this in my coaching, and I'm marking those everywhere that I can find that are, you know, you have a lot of nuggets of gold in this, and I'm putting mark and asterisk marks. And
the irony is that you didn't know me when I was a teacher. I wasn't loved.
Right.
Tony, explain that.
Yes.
You were loved by
later, when people figured me out.
That's right. That's right. It's like you gave us the attention that we wanted. Sometimes it wasn't the way we wanted to get the attention.
I could care less what you wanted.
But I think that's part of what you wanted to talk about today, which was the difference between compassionate love and passionate love. And we just kind of celebrated a little passionate love with our wives or significant others in our life. But we have a compassionate love for them as well.
Well, it's interesting. There's lots of definitions for love if you look it up, but passion isn't one of them. And you can have passion without love, and you can have compassion without love. But compassion is the ability to care for others, to make them feel good, to do things for other people. But you don't necessarily have to be soft in doing it, as you know, but you have to be consistent. I think the key is consistency, not be one person one day, the next person the other day, and know where you want to lead. It's like, great leaders know where they want to go from point A to point B. So when I was a teacher and a coach, I always knew what I wanted the end results to be. The process I may have to change from time to time, But the end results were, I want you to be able to think for your own self. I didn't think it was important what I taught you, but I think it was important that you learned discipline. And that was always part of what I did. That's why I had people work so hard. That's why I was sort of non-bending, because I wanted you to be able to keep moving forward. And so many of my students didn't realize it till they got older.
Well, when you walk down the halls in high school, and high school is a very challenging time for people as they're moving from childhood to adult. You're walking down the halls, and Coach Rosen is walking the opposite direction, and he'll call you out across the hallway, say, "Mr. DiGuida, I hope you're doing well today." And even though it may come to you in a stern voice, the fact that you would call me out in the hall amongst all these other kids showed that you cared.
Well, Patty Gale, I called Fat Mama.
Fat Mama. Why is that?
Coach, are you there with us?
Yes, he is.
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. So the gymnastics coach came to me, and her best athlete, it was a powerful girl, and she was a tremendous athlete. Her name was Patty Gale. And I had a real nice relationship with her brothers. But the gymnastics coach came to me and said that Patty quit the team. She quit the team because they were playing another school, and the other school was calling her Fat Mama because she was wearing leotards. And she asked if I would say something to Patty. So I saw her in the halls, and I called her Fat Mama. And she...
I don't think she appreciated that in front of everybody.
No, she started laughing.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She was like shocked. And then I said, "I'd like to talk to you later." And so she came to my office, and we talked. And we talked about self-esteem and self-imagery and having enough courage to get up, because there's going to be people your whole life that are going to say or do things to you. So she promised she'd go out for the gymnastics team. Well, she eventually got a scholarship to college. She became the most valuable gymnast. And I'm the only coach that you know that has a female statuette of a gymnast from a woman on my shelf, because she gave me her trophy.
Oh, really?
Wow. Wow. Well, what you mentioned there, Coach Dennis, is how to bring up that self-esteem, how to bring up, and you had to hit her on the core of what she left the other team because of that. But that's fascinating the way you are putting it.
Yes. I'm sorry, Coach. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm discussing that with some of my clients right now. Is that having that lifelong relationship and bringing up the self-esteem and bringing up the people to play the game.
That's how we get to talking about passion.
Passion,
or
exactly.
compassion.
Mm-hmm.
You know, compassion, the showing that you care about other people, showing that you care about their well-being, not in a phony manner, but in a realistic manner.
Mm-hmm.
You know, whether I walk by Tony and I smack him in the arm, you know, it's just like he knows that I care about him. There's no doubt in this. And so one of the things that as a leader is you want to let people know that compassion is all part of helping people reach their goals, letting them know that they're loved, letting them know that they need to love themselves. And that's why I'm surprised that I don't see compassion used more often, or passion. You know, I mean, Valentine's Day is a great time to show your passion for someone, but it's an equally great time just to reaffirm on a daily basis. You know, like people ask me all the, my wife is beautiful, by the way. People ask me all the time, God, what is, you know, what does she see in you? And I say, she's a lucky woman.
Well, I agree with you 100%. I purposefully did not buy roses on Valentine's Day, because since January, I have made sure there are fresh flowers in the house every day. And when the old flowers are dying off, I buy some new flowers. And I'm not going to pay a ridiculous fee on Valentine's Day just because everybody is going to go out and buy roses.
Astromedias are great, Tone. They come
Pardon
in
me?
different colors. A flower called
Astromedias?
Astromedias.
Okay, I will look that up. Is
They,
that
they come in different colors. Get them fresh. Don't get them when they're fully bloomed. They'll last about 10 days to 2 weeks, and they're inexpensive. Astromedias. I buy them every 10 days.
Do they look like long frills of like a mum, like an extended mum?
No, they're
Like
not. They're not mums at all. They're. You look at where do you shop at Jewel or someplace like that that has a floral department?
Yeah, I think I've purchased them before actually.
Yeah,
and
but
I didn't know what the name was.
Colors.
But
generally, it's 3 bunches for $12, and it's neat. They're neat because they're not overly expensive. They look real nice, and it's because you love your wife and you love your home. You know, our Camp Ojibwa, we have flower boxes in front of every camp. We're the only camp that does that, and because we want the kids to love nature, not just being there. You know, we want them to appreciate things. So we plant the flowers, and then for 8 weeks they have to maintain their flower boxes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yes, I have seen those flowers. I just looked it up online. I have seen those before.
Mm-hmm. See what Dennis said, that he buy those every 10 days, Tony.
Yeah.
Did you notice that? He buy that every 10 days. So love is a continuous things, and the consistency that he mentioned and the genuine nature of love is what shows through, what comes through. So no matter your employees, no matter your loved one, no matter whoever you are encountering, if you are consistent and you are genuine, and I think, Dennis, you can add to that, because I think that's what you are saying. Is that right, Dennis?
I'm sitting here sort of laughing because if any of my former students hear these things, they're going, he's talking about love. No, it's like, I'm telling them that I buy flowers every 10 days. They would think it's a different person, because in psychological terms, Coach, you know, there's the difference in the demeanor, the way that others take you to be, or the way that you take yourself to be. Well, I always try to have a demeanor where others would think, you know, like I'm a hard ass and that I'm not listening, but I am. But inside of me, it was the way I always challenged. That's why my book is called Confuse and Conquer, because I never wanted people to figure me out, because I didn't want to be programmed. You know, teenagers particularly, they spend too much time trying to figure out how to get good grade by getting into the teacher's head. Well, that never worked with me, because I wouldn't let them. And so I'm laughing, Tone, thinking if anyone's watching this and I'm talking about flowers every 10 days.
Well, Tom Smith might be watching this, because I talked to him yesterday and he said he saw the other one. He was going to tune in. Tom Smith.
Oh, Tom. Yeah, he was at the house with Conrad and a few other guys when Conrad got inducted into the Ridgewood Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. Coach, one of my former students asked me to be his inductee into the high school's Distinguished Alumni Hall of Fame. And my response was, I never liked you in the first place. And he didn't know what to say. It was
well, you know, to your point about showing compassion, I think these COVID times have made everyone a little bit colder, you know, because we're all wearing masks, as we're all a little bit stranger because we're wearing masks. We might not even recognize somebody we know. And when you could walk by somebody and smile, you really can't do that now. You have to make an effort to show.
You're absolutely right, Tony. So the way to do that is to make phone calls.
Absolutely.
To call people that maybe you haven't reached out to in a long time, because you have the time. You're at home. You're making a phone call. I must. Even when I was a teacher, every week I would call 5 different students' parents and let them know what a joy it is to have their son in class or daughter in class. And so, but now when you're restricted to home, you figure out, okay, how can I keep giving, because that it's a gift. Like, let's see. One of the wrestlers I hadn't seen in 40 years.
Mhm.
And,
Yes.
huh?
Go ahead.
And I just reached out to him. And Denny Stavanovich, I reached out to him. And people that I enjoyed so much, but have sort of lost contact with. You just figure it out. You reach out to them. And the rewards are so unbelievable because you have the time to do it. And so you make
So
one or two
surprised.
phone calls a day. It compensates for what you're not able to do. So you have to seek ways of doing it. But it's just wonderful to do that.
That is very, very nicely said, Dennis. And I want to stress that a little bit more is, as I coach a lot of people in, leadership, and I coach people in business, and they are very eager to know how to engage customers and how to actually make a sale. And in the sale is what they focus on, growing relationship with the customer to do the sale. But at the same time, just think about what Dennis just mentioned. Dennis mentioned about having an ongoing, genuine, passionate, compassionate love, and having that ongoing conversation with them, no matter they're buying from you or they have bought for you or they left you. You are keeping that genuineness, and it have to show, it have to be genuine. And if it is not genuine, you are calling them, and a lot of people like to call people before they buy things from them. But there is a lot of people who don't call them after they bought from them. And that's what the customer relationship building, and Dennis giving a fantastic example, is genuine nature, that you not only bought from me, but now I want to build that relationship with you because I genuinely care and I genuinely want you to gain from this. And that's the thing is missing. And Dennis, what do you say about that?
Well, I'm going to tell you a couple of stories to emphasize my feelings about that. I worked at a boys camp for over 60 years, and recently it was sold. But I've been retired since 2017, and they changed a lot of merchants that I dealt with and built up relationship. So one of the merchants was a printer in the town of Eagle River, and he's the finest gentleman. And I like, our camp was the first camp to be a member of the Chamber of Commerce because I wanted to be contributory to the entire environment. So they do the printing business, and I asked him if he would print my book. So when you look in the book, it'll say Han Printing in Eagle River, Wisconsin. And he called me and he said, first of all, your book is fantastic, but secondly, it's an honor to print your book. And I said, no, the honor is all mine. He said, you have done so much for this community and you've been so loyal. I'm only going to charge you what it costs me. I'm not going to make a profit off of printing your book. And so I told him how wonderful that was. But what I didn't tell him then is that I wanted to do something back for him to show him my esteem. So I found out what church he belongs to. He belongs to St. Peter's the Fisherman in Eagle River. And I called and I spoke to the father, Father Ron. And I donated $100 in Greg Hahn's name to be used for Christmas meals for people. And I didn't tell Greg and Mr. Hahn. And so the gift of giving is continual. You're absolutely right. You don't just because I don't do business with him anymore. It has nothing to do with the relationships or the respect for the relationships. And that's the thing that the younger generation doesn't seem to spend enough time in doing those things.
I think that technology has helped people lose touch with the art of communication. And technology, people feel like they're in touch with old friends. They know what they're posting and they can respond to it, but they really aren't in touch with their friends. And nothing beats a phone call. I agree with you 100%.
Well, the only thing that beats a phone call is the synergy that I personally get when I'm with other people together. Like
Right.
right now, the fact that I'm seeing you creates a different chemical in my body that is really good. But if we were sitting together, it would even be elevated to a higher degree. That's what synergy does. It changes the thing. So we are missing some of that, but the face to face, and so often, Coach, even just hearing someone's voice. I have John Urbanski, Tone, right?
Sure.
Well, he suffers from a disease and he's doing okay. I call him every 2 weeks. And all he says to me is, Coach, how are you? I said, I didn't call to talk about me. If you want to talk about me, you call me. I'm calling you to find out about you. And that's so Coach, the coach has asked you to start.
There you go.
Oh, you gave us the synergy.
So Coach,
the
what you're saying is so true, but it's true in different levels. You know what I'm talking about, synergy.
Uh-huh.
And
Yeah.
that's such an important part of compassion. And it's all intertwined. There's no one thing, but you're absolutely right. Make people, there's nothing greater than making people feel
And
good.
there's nothing wrong with reaching out to a stranger as well and saying hello, and giving that gift of compassion.
But Coach,
In the book, there's a section about a transfer student named David, who was a handicapped student. Did you get to read that part yet?
not yet.
It changed lives. It changed his life, and it changed the life of someone that volunteered to do them. We had a physical education leader program, and I had the student who at birth had water on the brain and he could never do anything. And they transferred him into Ridgewood for 1 year. And I treated him the same as everyone else. I was brutal on him, walked in the halls. What's wrong, Dave? You're too tired. And the student body rallied around him. He became like, everyone would say hello to him. And then one of the boys was a PE leader that helped him, Greg Lundy. Do you remember the Lundy boys, Tone?
I remember the name. I can't put a face with it.
Okay. So he was a senior who was going to go into business. So listen to this, Coach. The experience that he got from working with David, he decided to go into special education. 25 years later, he wrote me a letter telling me this whole story. And he said, I believe God brought David to me and that I brought David to him because it changed his whole life. And so you just keep giving, and it's fantastic. And you're sitting around, you got nothing to do. I haven't watched television at all this whole time.
What?
I have
Not at all?
Only the Bear games.
Right.
Well, that's sad.
I have not watched television because I don't want to waste my time watching television. I want to figure out what I can do. Who should I call? What can I do next?
I agree with you. And I feel like I'm just waiting, and I don't want to wait anymore for anything.
Then start your book.
Time for a book.
One thing that Tony, in this discussion, that Coach is giving us a lot of good things that we need to actually realize, which is he's talking about the compassion. He's talking about genuineness. And I would stress that over again, genuine love. Nothing in this world can beat that genuineness. If you are genuine, it comes from you, within you. If you are genuine, and your employees, your co-workers, your family, your neighbors, your community, everybody will see the genuineness, because this is within you. It's not outside. And that's what we talk about.
Sure.
Love is, our giving is a one-way street. It's not, you don't expect a return. So it's a one-way, you give.
Well stated, Coach, well stated.
Yes, you continue to give, and when you give, you get much more back, but you don't expect to be getting any return. And that's the genuine giving.
The person that I feel the most compassion for is my rabbi. This past week, there was a tragic death, and he had to reach so deep into his soul. And so I wrote him a letter telling him how much I respect what he did. I also said, I know from time to time, your craft takes so much out of you. I said to him, I have big shoulders. I'm more than welcome to have you be a part of who I am, but no kissing. So
You had to lighten it up a little bit. I know you.
He sent me a letter back saying, thank you for always being there. You're my rock. Now the rabbi's telling me I'm his rock because I wanted to tell him he's our rock. And so that's a great example, Coach, of reaching out. Think about people who says thank you to a rabbi. Only if it's an occasion or he's doing something for you.
Right. Well, I've always considered myself to be a connector of people. I am the one who always reaches out to friends I haven't talked to in a long time. And whenever I would go back to Chicago, I would always contact somebody to have breakfast with them or have lunch or
we did it all the time.
Do a little FaceTime. And I never felt disappointed that they didn't call me. I have a friend that I call all the time out of the blue, and it was like, oh, I was just going to call you. You did it again. You called me first. I said, that's okay. I wanted to talk, and I don't feel bad about somebody not calling me. It's just what I do. And I appreciate you, Coach, because last time on this call, you said that I give a lot of gifts, and I said, I don't feel that I do.
Yeah, but that's one of them. See, the difference is that
made me realize it.
Yeah, well, because you do, and the reason you didn't realize it because you don't do it for recognition. You do it because it's who you are. Well, like I haven't talked to Jody in a long time. I'm not going to make it easy on him when he calls me.
Oh, he wants a book. You know that.
Yeah, but he's out of town or something right now.
He's in Palm Springs sucking up the sun.
He'll get it. Coach, this is tremendous. I can't thank you enough for including me in your conversations.
Well, you are giving us so many good things that, one of the things I would mention here is because I coach many of these business owners. And one of the things they always ask me is about, improving sales. And as you can see that at the beginning, before the sales, and I mentioned it earlier, that before the sales, we are very focused on connecting with the people, calling them.
Building a relationship, yes.
Building a relationship and making a sale. But what happened after you have made the sale? You forget about the people who bought it from you, and it's the genuineness disappears. So the question here is, do you truly want to help them? Or truly want to help them, or truly want to support them? That will show up in your genuineness when you actually connect with them afterwards.
No question.
Yeah, you are keeping that lifelong relationship build and forms.
Yeah, so you're not giving sales tips, you're giving life tips.
Exactly.
And that's the difference. And that's why you can be so valuable to help others. It's not, this is how you should approach it. No. This is what you need to do to establish meaningful relationships with people before, during, and after a sale.
Well, and it's what you do with your time, which is so important to
make phone calls, Tony.
Right. It's like I realized being a salesperson that when other salespeople stopped doing business with me that I built a friendship with, I wasn't disappointed that they don't call me because I realized they're making other sales. They're building other relationships. It's just like friends. Life happens. People have kids. People get tied up in the business of life, and they don't always have the time to call. So if you're thinking about making the call, if you're thinking about someone, make the call.
So in the Jewish religion, we have a holiday called Yom Kippur. And Yom Kippur, you're supposed to atone for all your sins. Well, one day wouldn't be enough for me, but I had a falling out with my brother, and every Yom Kippur I would try to reach out to him. 4 years, 6 years, 10 years, and finally it worked. And so it's not a question of trying; it's a question of not stopping as well.
And consistency.
You have to be persistent, consistent, and persistent.
And
I'll read
that. Here I'll read that from your book because you said caring, has many faces, including smiles, frowns, grunts and moans, cheers and boos, winning and losing, believing and not believing, and more. But through all of the variables, I do feel that a consistent approach for me is never to quit.
Did I write that?
Yes, you
That's
did.
pretty good.
Is to never quit. See it through by.
You may have read it different than you wrote it.
Well, listen to this, Tony. See it through by doing your best, and you never have to look back. Seeing
That's
through
right.
by doing.
Oh,
your,
Tony knows that because we lived that.
yeah.
Except
And
I've always felt a little guilt in Tony's loss.
yeah.
You know, it's funny. You know, those are just things that happen in life, and as I've in my business world, I nurture clients and I build relationships with them, and we do business for lengths of time. And in my business of advertising, people change. People move on and have other needs, and they go another direction. And so in the ad agency business, you might keep a client 3 to 5 years. Well, I kept clients 5 to 20 years. So I did keep them a lot longer. But when I lost clients, it felt like I lost a friend because I had built them up for so long. And so out of the blue, I'll call an old client and say, hey, how are you? How you doing? I just wanted to call. And I feel like it's genuinely received after a while, but it's initially, oh, is he trying to sell me again? Is he trying to sell me something? No, I just wanted to reach out and say hello. I missed the friendship.
Yeah, that's the reason our love module is in, there is 3 modules, coach, in our relationship dimension. And one is love, the other one is self-love, and then the final one is happiness. And in the relationship domain, those are the 3 modules we talk about: love, self-love, and happiness. You have to love yourself. You have to love others. And that's what brings you the happiness and the genuineness, what coach is mentioning here. And it's a life example of not only business, it's life.
I used to walk around camp and ask kids what do they want to be when they grow up, and they would say something, and I'd say wrong answer, and they would say something else, and I'd go wrong answer. Well, they said what? I said you want to be happy.
Exactly.
The first big job interview I had, the president of the company asked me, so what do you want to be when you grow up? And I told him, he said, wrong answer. And he's like, and I'm like, oh, is he testing me? He's asking me to do it again. If I change my mind, then it looks like I vacillate. So I told him the same thing again. He said, wrong answer. I said, what's the right answer? He goes, whenever somebody asks you what you want to be, tell them I want your job. Because that's always the right answer.
Well, I don't know how much longer we have.
Yeah, we started a little bit late, so we are collecting all the gold nuggets that we can from you, and your book is a fantastic example for that. And as you mentioned before, this book is not out there for sale.
No.
You only give it as a gift, and thank you for giving me the gift of this book. And whoever you give, they are receiving a gift that is endless, and that is, they can carry it forward. So coach,
That's your love.
I'm having a Zoom meeting with my 6 grandsons whom I wrote the book for.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
To discuss the book.
Yeah.
How old are they?
The youngest is 12 and the oldest is 21.
Oh, that'll be good.
Yeah. And I read the story of the camp that you were with, the 3.
Camp Ojibwa.
Yeah, not that one. The one before that, he mentioned about going to a small town, and when he was eating hamburger with this other assistant coach with you, the kids were going to the town and looking for the things that they wanted to do, but they came back very quickly, and they were waiting there outside asking.
Oh, that's
a camping, when you went camping.
Yeah,
That's when I took the three students in that no
Out
one
into
wanted
the
to deal
woods.
with because they were bad news. That was one of the greatest trips of all time. I
yeah,
could have written a book just about that. It was so amazing.
yeah.
Well,
and-
maybe that's your second book.
Mhm.
No, no.
And
Thank
that's
you,
where-
everybody.
That's where
Don't-
you mentioned.
Thank
that's
you,
where-
Dennis.
I love the
Right.
subject matter for the month. We use
Yes,
Valentine's Day to
Well,
talk about it. but
I may call you on in the future when I see a subject that I think you will enjoy. And
What do you mean
I'll,
that you think? Why wouldn't you call me all the time and tell me what you're talking about, whether I'm going to enjoy it or not?
well, then I will.
so the lesson that coach gave us so far, Tony, you haven't heard anything. It's called relationship. It's called love. And if-
Coach, you got some work to do. I'll tell you that right now.
yeah, yeah,
He's
He-
making decisions for me.
exactly. It have to be the genuine, not to call about a show or not to call about, it's a genuine call that you care.
You know,
And
I
he-
thought he was making progress, but I don't know.
Yeah, it's an ongoing work.
Oh my God, there's so many layers to pry through before you get there.
It's an onion. You got to peel it back.
Well,
Take
very
care,
well.
everyone.
Yeah, so thank you, Dennis, for giving the gift of love and continue to give it because,
I'd like you to finish the book because it's amazing.
oh yeah, I'm reading
I mean,
it.
not that the book is amazing, but just it just fits into what we're talking about. It's just
There
like,
is one question I was going to ask you about a name I found in your book, and it's your accountant, Schwartz. Are you talking about Dan Schwartz? And he's one of my BNI guy, and he's an accountant for 30, 40
No,
years.
I would.
no, the Schwartz that I'm talking about is the family that owned the camp before me.
Okay, okay. But they're an accounting firm, and he bought it from his dad. So I don't know, that may
Yeah,
be.
no.
There's a lot of
This is
Schwartz
Mickey
out there.
Schwartz, and his associate was Leonard Weiskirk.
Okay. Well,
Schwartz is like Smith in the Jewish community, right?
yeah,
It's a
Dan-
Are you
Very
trying to be a
common
smart ass?
so
Well,
very
Coach,
well, we
it's
would
great
love
to see you.
You know what the greatest was, Coach? These guys would think that they're so cool, and then I would just beat the hell out of them mentally and physically. It was so much fun for me. That's how sick I am.
You missed
Are
it,
you
I know.
tired, Tony? Oh,
Oh,
poor little Tony.
well, Coach, I love you for all the love you shared.
I love you too. One thing, Coach, when Tony comes to town, he didn't tell you this, but sometimes his mother comes with him, and we had breakfast together.
Mhm.
Tony, his mom, and myself.
My
Yes.
mother realizes he was my other father,
Well,
my second father.
I know that you cook very well breakfast because in the camp you cook the breakfast, like the dinner they were cooking themselves, but you cook the breakfast. So that's a very, very nice way of.
Well, I would be up. I always used to get up real early. I like to walk the grounds.
Mhm.
I liked. One of these days we'll talk about spirituality because it's not a religious experience, and it's like an euphoric existence in some places where you can just go and just sit and just listen and hear and watch. And camp is one of those places to me, and so spirituality has become pretty big to me.
Yes, and then the same thing we are doing here called mindfulness meditation is one of the things we are doing is to connect with nature, and as you can say Tony, Amy is doing it outdoors sometimes, and which is fabulous.
Yeah, when you see the sunsets or the stars at night, or just when I get up in the morning and I used to walk the grounds, or I would sit down and just listen to the different sounds of the animals. We had a huge tree at camp, and on the top of the tree was an eagle's nest.
Mhm.
And I used to say good morning to Mr. Eagle.
Connecting with the nature. So very well said, Coach, and thank you for giving us the gift of love. And we'll share this with the world as much as we can, and because I know it will come back to all of us. So
Thank you for
very-
inviting me, Coach.
Thank you. It was awesome to speak with you both today, and a
Are you
wonderful
learning anything, or did you already know most of the stuff?
I'm learning every day. Every
Oh,
day.
don't give me that. I mean, you know me as well as most people do. Are things surprising
I am learning a spiritual side of you I didn't know.
you? Okay,
Which
that's what I
is
was hoping you
interesting.
would say.
And just to briefly touch on that, the most spiritual moment I've had was floating the Grand Canyon in the vastness of that, and you are amongst the gods. It was just phenomenal, and I would recommend that to anyone. And there was a woman who was 85 years old on our trip that floated with us, but it was an 8-day float, and it was just memorable.
Very nice. That will connect very well with our self-love, which when
Yourself, you're absolutely right.
well, thank you very much, both of you. Coach, it's very nice to see you again, and I hope to get you back again when we can.
I want you to finish the book because I don't want to have to embarrass you by asking questions that you don't know, but I will.
Okay, very well. And that's a promise I will keep.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Thanks,
you.
everybody.
Thank you very much. And you can join us March 2nd for the next issue of Coffee with the Coach.
Okay.
So long, everyone.
Take care. Have a good day.
You too.